Shadia, 66% of the vote then.
Absolutely, this really is history in the making, as Boris Johnson has won the race to number 10, making him the next Tory party leader and by default the next Prime Minister. It was almost a done deal from the very get-go, as Boris Johnson was the front runner and favourite among Tory party members. And speaking earlier, Boris Johnson was explaining to the nation, giving the thanks to those people that voted for him, saying that his key message and aim today is to unite and energise the country.
Deliver Brexit, unite the country and defeat Jeremy Corbyn. And that is what we're going to do. I know that there will be people around the place who will question the wisdom of your decision. Well, I look at you this morning and I ask myself, do you look daunted? Do you feel daunted? I don't think you look remotely daunted to me. And I think that we know that we can do it, and that the people of this country are trusting in us.
Well, while his allies may be emphatic that Boris Johnson has managed to secure 66% of the votes, and many messages of solidarity and congratulations are coming in from all over the world, including President of the United States, Donald Trump, tweeting out saying he thinks that Boris Johnson will be great as Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. Having said that, not everybody feels the same way. In fact, many people across the United Kingdom are daunted at the prospect that Boris Johnson is the next Prime Minister, including Labour leader of the opposition, Jeremy Corbyn. He's come out to say that this is unrepresentative, given the fact that less than 100,000 Tory party members have voted him in. Taking that into consideration, in the grand scheme of things, that isn't even 1% of the population that can vote across the United Kingdom. And it's not just Jeremy Corbyn that thinks that this process is undemocratic.
It's probably not really democratic, but unless you change it, it's like the voting system, you know, until you have proportional representation, then you don't really have a true democracy, do you, like most countries around Europe, you know.
It's not democratic at all. They're in minority government. It should have been an election.
Not really. I mean, it's not just now. It's like this will be the third of the last 4 Prime Ministers aren't getting into power by being voted in. So, yeah, it just feels the whole democratic system is failing.
The Tory party is set up to elect their new leader, which has been the same for 100 years, hasn't it? So what's the problem? I mean, you know, David Cameron was elected like that, Maggie Thatcher wasn't she? I mean, you know, what's the problem?
Either way, though, this more than comfortable win for Boris Johnson will certainly give him a mandate to pursue his no-deal Brexit preparations. But this is no honeymoon period for the new Prime Minister, as this is not exactly normal times in British politics. What we know is that Johnson's ascent to power has really been punctuated with resignations from top governmental ministers. We've heard that the Chancellor Philip Hammond, Justice Secretary David Gauke, and even International Development Secretary Rory Stewart, all three of them said that they would resign if Boris Johnson made it to the top job in number 10. Rory Stewart has indeed gone through with his words, although not yet in an official capacity. But one man who has done so is Sir Alan Duncan. He had resigned just yesterday, arguing that Boris Johnson's Brexit situation is not one that he could ever back, and also says that Boris Johnson is living on a knife edge. He's not wrong either, though, because the Tory party have a razor-thin majority in Parliament. Putting Brexit aside, domestic policies, Boris Johnson really has a huge in-tray of agenda on an international scale when he makes it to number 10.
We're going to come out on October the 31st. And I think anybody who goes into this negotiation proposing yet again to kick the can down the road will, I think, run the risk of forfeiting trust with the electorate. I've got a good relationship with the White House, and I have no embarrassment in saying that. I think it's very important that we have a strong relationship with our most important ally, the United States. We don't share a common perspective on events in Ukraine or on the Western Balkans, or as Prime Minister Theresa May has said, on Russian activities in cyberspace.
So what happens next? Well, Prime Minister Theresa May, she will be taking part in her final Prime Minister's questions tomorrow on Wednesday. She'll then head towards the Queen, where she'll officially hand in her resignation. The Queen will then invite Boris Johnson to speak with her, meet with her, and then invite him to form a new government. As for today, though, Boris Johnson no doubt will be making crucial key decisions in terms of the cabinet and how he will be reshuffling it as of tomorrow. Critics, though, may well draw attention to Boris Johnson's promises in this race for number 10. The very same promises that got him in may well get him out in just a few months' time if it all goes wrong and not according to his plans. Not to mention, of course, Boris Johnson's do-or-die approach to Brexit that may well haunt him come the end of October.